Hello, welcome back to the Do the Work podcast. I'm here again with Lucy, and we are talking all things mum and baby and basically supporting you after you've given birth. And so, Lucy, we're going to be talking today about like the habits that you kind of like implemented and were successful with after your second child, wasn't it, when you got into exercise? And then relating that to the mum and baby sessions and how we are going to support the new mums with regards to not just what's happening in the gym, but what's happening outside of the gym. Because just as much as it's important for the average person that's coming to the gym and maybe doesn't have a baby, what happens outside is just as important for the new mums as well. However, it's obviously quite challenging. So I'm going to kind of hand it over to you at this point, but what were the challenges that you had with like the habits around sleep and steps and nutrition shortly after giving birth?
I think like with any new parent, I was up against the usual challenges like you just said, like sleep and just food, grabbing things on the go, and kind of not really wanting to leave the house much. But when I went to the gym, and I started kind of surrounding myself with people who were motivating me to kind of eat differently and exercise. I started to make really small, subtle changes every day. So I think the first one I started with was just drinking. I used to put a bottle of water in my car. And when I was driving, if I got to a stoplight, I'd just drink a bit more water. And I know it sounds really silly, but just little things like, and I still do that today. I did it this morning. I put that bottle of water in my car and I was drinking it in every red light. And then over time, it was just, increasing my steps by like 1,000, 2,000 a day, putting the baby in the pram and going for a bit of an extra walk or a longer walk, an extra 10, 15 minutes a day. And then before you know it, the weeks roll by and then the months roll by and all those little tiny habits have all stacked on top of each other. And then you're flying and you've built some really long-term sustainable habits that you don't even realize you're doing anymore.
And so obviously that helped you physiologically because it got you on the path of losing some weight and getting your fitness back and all of that stuff. How did it help you psychologically, like mental health wise as well? Because I think you mentioned on the previous episode, like you can be cooped up at home and a little bit kind of like on your own and stuff. So did those things help you in that respect as well?
Yeah, because I think as a new parent you feel a little bit out of control because baby's crying, nappies, sleep, everything. So it gave me a little bit of control back in my life. I was able to control the controllables as such. I was able to control my steps. I was able to control my food. I was able to control those things that I could. And that made me feel good. It still makes me feel good now when I feel a bit more in control of myself and my life. So yeah, absolutely. Mentally, it really helped.
And for the ladies that are going to be coming in to see you for the program, what are you going to put into place or how are you going to support them? Because like you said, right, your brain's all over the show. No sleep, you're sleep deprived, it's chaotic and stuff. How are you going to support them and help them so that they can try and make these things stick?
Like I've just said, that realistic guidance and support, not overloading people with tasks to do and saying that you've got to hit 10, 15,000 steps a day. You've got to drink 3 litres of water. You've got to do this. It's sometimes a bit unrealistic to get everything right, everything perfect straight away. Just like I did, it's about putting those tiny habits in every day that will build up over time because these things do take time. Anything worth having takes time.
Yeah, so starting, I mean, as with any habit, starting small, and that's one of the, I mentioned this book and quoted it loads of times, Atomic Habits, James Clear, is like start really small. Yeah. Smaller than you think you need to start.
Yeah, small.
Like you say, even if it's just, okay, I start by going outside for 10 minutes with the pram and go for a walk or something and then build on it from there. Or it starts with, like you say, a couple of thousand steps or whatever, or just go outside every day, whatever it is. But yeah, I think with anything with fitness, people think that they need to commit to the 5 training sessions per week, the 10,000 steps a day,
change their nutrition completely.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, I'm having no takeaways, I'm having no drink, and I'm having no this, that, and the other. And then they can't stick to it. And so when you've got all the challenges of sleep deprivation probably being the biggest thing, I'm guessing, in maternity, that's going to make things even harder. Your appetite's going to be all over the place. Your circadian rhythm's going to be all over the place because your sleep's all disrupted and stuff. So starting small, I think, is really, really important,
Definitely,
isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, I don't know, I guess every woman's different, like you said, and every baby's different. But I'm guessing it could probably feel really tough to make that first step and maybe feel like potentially that you're not a priority and that it can come later and baby is priority. So I suppose one of the things that you're trying to do is we're trying to involve baby in this situation. You can bring baby, you can bring, like you say, the bouncers and all those sorts of things, feed them, do whatever is needed to be done here so that, you know, you're not depriving them or leaving them or whatever. And obviously it can be done as well. We're not needing anybody's help, providing they've got transport access or whatever to get here. So what about kind of like nutrition and stuff? How did you find that? Because this is just all anecdotal things that people have told me, but, you know, like my friends told me, like, I've got baby in one hand, I'm trying to cook some scrambled eggs in the other hand or whatever. You just kind of like eat and grab and go as you can. Is that something that you found difficult when you were trying to lose weight ultimately when you're on maternity?
No, not really. In the sense of I wasn't in work and I actually felt like I was tired, obviously, but I had a bit more time in the day to go for a walk. I had a little bit more time to go for a play group, or, you know, had more time in the morning to cook a nutritious breakfast. So I had a little bit more time during my maternity leave to do all those things. So no, I personally didn't really struggle with that. It was more struggling around stuff like what I should be eating, what calories I should be on, and that kind of structuring, literally learning from scratch what food is nutritious and protein and what I should be eating. Sorry to interrupt this episode, but if you are interested in our mum and baby group, we have an inquiry form that's in our show notes. Just click the link, fill it in, and we will get in touch with you as soon as possible. That was the harder part than actually finding time to eat, if you get what I mean.
So did you have a structure in terms of like how often you ate or when you ate or what you ate or how you planned that? Like, how did you put that together?
Not really, in the sense of I always just had, you know, pre kind of changing all my nutrition. It was very much, you know, pot noodles, Pringles, pasties, cakes. Yes, I'd eat veg and stuff, but I would have like takeaway pizzas, takeaway Indian food. So it wasn't obviously until I kind of, when I started to relook at all my nutrition, and then I'd have like 3 meals a day, like 3 full meals a day. And I was on around 1,800 calories in a cup. And yeah, I'd obviously looked at stuff like my protein, my carbs and my fats. But to be honest, when you're first starting, it was just about my calories and my protein. And that was it. I didn't look at anything else. It was just 1,800 calories. How much food can I fit in that? And how much protein can I get in? And to be honest, my protein didn't come until a bit later on. It was just relearning calories because I'd never tracked my calories ever. It was always Slimming World. And kind of, you know, sinned foods and don't put a banana in the oven.
Yeah, we'll not go down that road today.
But yeah.
Okay, so so someone comes to see you for the Strong Mum Club, DoTheWorkHQ, which is what it's going to be called.
Yeah.
In what way can and will you support them with their nutrition to help them with the calories then? So, you know, I suppose anyone online now, ChatGPT, whatever, can go, okay, I'm going to have 1,500 calories or 1,600 calories or whatever. How can you, like you did, or what did you do? How did you find out, like, the food that you said, I want the most amount of food for 1,800 calories? How did you do that?
A lot of research online, and also I just went to the trainers at the gym that I was at and asked for guidance and some support. And obviously, like we do as well, we have some general guides and some information around foods and, you know, how to like food optimize and bulk out your food with veg and stuff like that. So if somebody was to come to me and ask for some advice and some support, I'd spend a decent amount of time explaining around, you know, what foods to eat and how to get the most out of what calories you're on. And And if somebody was to come to me and say they were on a very low calories, we'd just revisit that, relook at that, and see what that person needs really based on what their goals are.
And have you got any sort of like go-to meals when maybe you've got 2 kids running around and you're busy and what have you? How do you fill your meals with, like you say, nutritious foods that are filling you up, that have the most amount of food? Have you got any go-to meals that you use for that?
Yeah, so I've got a couple. A chow mein, like a simple like packet noodles with chicken and veg, like cheap and cheerful, whack it in with a sauce and pack it out with veg, and we're done. My children love it. Things that take a bit longer to cook but could be done like on a Sunday, like you could cook like a big lasagna, and my little boy does not like peas or anything green so I'll often blend it, make a sauce, and then make a big family lasagna. If we eat half, put the other half in the freezer. So it's just like little tips along the way, just doing stuff like that you're thinking of either like the next day, or stuff you can cook up and then just reheat and reuse. Things like homemade smash burgers are always a hit. So like, beef mince smashed, put it in the pan, burgers, loads of veg, and make a nice side salad or salsa, and away we go.
Okay, so obviously there's a few good things there in terms of like meals and stuff like that you can look at. But if you was to give maybe 2 or 3 like top tips to help someone who is on maternity with regards to habits and stuff, what are those things that they could focus on? Just quick fire, 3 things.
Start small, realistic, and ask for help. That's it.
Amazing. Ask for help is the big one, like you said there, isn't it? Like I said, how did you go about understanding the calories and all that sort of stuff? And you said, I just went in the gym and I asked the PTs. So I think that's a massive one, isn't it? A case of asking for help.
Yeah, no matter what the help, could be family, friends, trainer, but don't do it alone. Could be me.
You.